Hey everyone, today we are putting on our detective hats. We're going to learn how to crack the case of any text by finding the most important clues, the supporting details that really show us what the author is trying to say. Let's dive in.
You know that feeling, right? You finish reading a page or a chapter, and you remember a couple of random things, but if someone asked you what the main point was, you draw a blank. That's what we mean by getting lost in the trees, all those tiny details, and completely missing the forest, the big picture.
Well, today, we're going to change that. From now on, you're a reading detective. Every single thing you read is a case that needs to be solved. And the author, they've left a trail of clues for you. Those are the supporting details, and they lead right to the heart of the message.
So here's our plan of attack. First, we'll figure out what our mission is in the case of hidden meanings. Then, we'll get our detective's toolkit ready. After that, we're opening 2 case files, one for facts, one for feelings. Then comes the secret weapon, the master question, before we finally close the case.
Okay, first things first. Every great detective needs to know what they're looking for. So, what exactly is our mission here? What are we trying to find?
Our targets are what we call supporting details. And look, these aren't just random, disconnected bits of information. No way. These are the specific pieces of evidence the author uses to make their point crystal clear, to prove their argument, or to explain a complex idea. They're the foundation holding the whole thing up.
All right, detective, before we head out into the field, every good investigator needs their toolkit. Let's go over the essential gear you'll need to crack any case that comes your way. So, the most important tool in your kit is knowing what a relevant detail actually is. Think of these details as the fingerprints at a crime scene, or the key witness statements. They are the hard evidence, the specific facts, the clear examples, the vivid descriptions that point directly back to the main idea. Here's a fantastic way to picture this. Imagine the main point of a text, the central idea, is the strong, solid trunk of a tree. It's the core, right? The thing that everything else depends on. And if the main idea is the trunk, then the relevant details are the branches. And what do branches do? They grow directly out of the trunk. If you find a piece of information that doesn't connect back to that central idea, it's not a branch. It's just a random stick on the ground. These details are what give the main idea its shape, its substance, its life.
Okay, time to get our hands dirty. Let's open our very first case file. This one's all about nonfiction, where our clues are all about cold, hard facts.
When you're investigating a nonfiction text, your absolute best friend is your magnifying glass. And in this case, that means asking questions, specifically the 5 W's and how. Who is this about? What exactly happened? Where and when did it all go down? And most importantly, why and how did it happen? These questions will lead you right to the key details. Let's try this out on a real case, Ötzi the Iceman. The big idea is that the objects found with him tell us about his life. So what's the evidence? On the left, you see the clues. Pants made of goatskin, a bow and axe. And on the right, what that proves. He used animal resources for his clothes and was clearly equipped for hunting or defense. See? Each little detail helps build that bigger picture of his life.
Now, let's switch gears. Time for a totally different kind of investigation. In this next case file, the clues aren't facts, but feelings. We're digging into motivations, themes, and what it means to be human. Or, a tree.
When you're trying to figure out the theme of a story, a novel, or a poem, the most important details are almost always connected to the characters. You have to watch them like a hawk. What are they like? What drives them to do what they do? Pay close attention to their actions, what they say, their emotions, and their values. That's where you'll find the clues to the story's deeper meaning. Let's look at this myth about why some trees stay green. The central theme here is about kindness. And how do we know? The evidence is all in the characters' actions. You've got the unkind trees who just tell a poor little bird to go away, but then you have the kind trees who offer it shelter and food. These contrasting actions are the specific details that prove the theme. And then, bam, we get the big reveal. The piece of dialogue that cracks the case wide open. The north wind says it outright. Because some trees were kind, they get to be rewarded. This quote, right here, is the smoking gun. It's the final piece of evidence we need. So we've looked at facts and nonfiction and feelings and stories, but now it's time to reveal the single most powerful, most versatile tool a reading detective has. This is the one question that works on every case, every single time. This is it. This is the game changer. Every time you find a potential clue, a statistic, a quote, a character's action, anything, you have to stop and ask yourself this master question. What does this detail show about the central idea? If you can't answer that question, then it's not a clue. It's a distraction. This is what forces you to connect those branches back to the trunk.
Well, detective, we've gathered our tools, we've examined the evidence, and we've uncovered the master key. Now it's time to wrap this whole thing up and see how you can use these skills out in the real world.
So here's your 4-step process. It's pretty simple. 1. Approach everything you read like it's a case to be solved. 2. Figure out what kind of clues you're looking for. Are they hard facts or are they about feelings and themes? 3. Gather your evidence. Highlight, underline, take notes on the details. And 4, the most important step. Use that master question on every single clue to make sure it's actually relevant.
And let me be clear, this isn't just for passing a test in English class. This is a real-world superpower. Being able to spot the main point and the evidence that backs it up is absolutely essential for understanding a news article, for analyzing a contract before you sign it, for getting the theme of a movie, or even just for figuring out what someone is really trying to say in a conversation.
So you did it. You're no longer just a passive reader. You're an investigator. You've got the tools, you've got the process. You have the power to uncover the truth in pretty much anything you read. The only question left is, what mysteries are you going to solve first?